The full-time whistle has blown in Cardiff, and Wales against New Zealand has finished. My immediate thoughts following the match, and because of the amount of TMO interventions which were needed in that second half, I'm going to keep this relatively brief, because otherwise the Ireland versus South Africa game is going to kick off, and that is the box office game of the day. Although this was quite fun, and it finished. Spoiler alert. Wales 26, New Zealand 52. And I guess it tells you a little bit about where we're at. That Wales have shipped 50 points, and yet I'm kind of full of admiration in a way for elements of that Welsh performance, the dog that they showed. And also, New Zealand have racked up 52 points, and I'm still looking at them going, I'm not totally sure their attacking game is properly clicking. That probably is the biggest measure of where these two sides are at. But other measures, and again, these stats may change before they're made official, but just on the face of it, once again, for the second week in a row, Wales conceding, or New Zealand gaining, over 1,000 metres in metres made. Huge amount. And, I mean, that is one problem right there. They're just not able to stem the tide and win the physical battle at the gain line. Equally, as a result, the pressure piled on in the end, and there were penalties given away, yellow cards given away. New Zealand, on the flip side, had some things that worked really well. The line-out was absolutely spot on. I think it was like 100% success, 15 out of 15, something like that. And they only conceded 4 penalties in the entire game. They beat 38 defenders in their 166 carries. But yet they didn't look quite as clinical as we have seen them. And you do feel like with the Welsh team they were up against, if it was New Zealand at their absolute best with their proper mojo, that might have been 60 to a number a bit smaller. And one interesting stat, just to flip it round and give Wales some credit, prior to this game, the previous 12 years of November tests, and Wales have never scored more than 2 tries. You have to go back 13 years before they scored 2 tries. And, you know, they scored 26 points and 4 good tries in this game. And there's other positives. Lewis Rees-Zammit looked more like an international rugby player again. He looked really sharp and had his moments. And Tom Rogers coming in and getting a hat-trick as well. Wales were scoring tries on the edge, and they're actually quite lethal when they get into the 22. On the flip side, New Zealand had loads of possession, loads of territory, and weren't as accurate. But when they do click, they look really good. And there were some very nice things. Fabian Holland he's just a line-out monster. There were some big physical ball carriers. Wallace Titi, Tamaiti Williams, really, really busy. And it was just too much in the end. Let me know your thoughts in the chat down below. Give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. Just a quick heads up as well. So there is one more lot of international games next week. And I'm going to be in Cardiff. I have a live show at the Walkabout on game day before Wales against South Africa, kicking off at 11 o'clock, doors from 10. And I've got special guests, I've got a crowd of people, and I would love for you to be part of it. I'll leave a link in the description so you can come and join me. There may be some discounted tickets still available with the code SashaFM. They may have gone now while stocks last, but tell you what, your ticket does get you access, and you get a free drink. In fact, I'm enjoying Thatcher's while I watch the rugby today, and Thatcher's, thank you very much, and making sure everyone gets free refreshment on entry. So sort yourself out, and you get a queue jump after the game, wristband. That means you can just walk past the queue, straight back into the Walkabout, past all the queue, people queuing up, no charge to get back in. And you can go and enjoy the post-game as well. And I'll see you there for both, hopefully. So come and join me. Link in the description. I'll see you then. But back to the game. And actually, before we talk about the ins and outs of the match, and as I say, I will keep this relatively brief because there's an Ireland-South Africa game and I want to settle down and really take that one in, as I'm sure you do. So I'll be back with a little bit more later, perhaps. But the event, the spectacle from the very start looked ace. Everyone has upped their game. You know how on the rugby pitch, the Springboks have kind of made everyone rethink how they use their bench. And people look at, whether it's 6-2 splits or they look at the tactics that other teams use and, we'll take a bit of that. we have to give credit, I think, in rugby to France. France have upped the expectation of a game day atmosphere in a stadium, and Wales have kind of adopted, like the Stade de France, the spotlights. And I just thought the light show, the pyrotechnics, the haka, the response from the Welsh crowd, who, again, no one seems to be offended that that Welsh fans were singing through the haka. Quite right, they should if they want to. That's great. It's all part of it. But no one's complaining now, like they were a week ago at Twickenham. But just what an awesome event. And you did worry that it was going to be really awesome build-up, and then the actual game wasn't going to live up to it. And there were elements where the match didn't have huge quality at times, but at least Wales made it really interesting. So yeah, you had, what did we have? Oh, the anthems as well, top tier. Wales, I don't care how much their national team is struggling, that will never not be one of the great anthems in World Rugby every single time. They won the anthems. New Zealand won the game. Caleb Clark in straight away, kind of setting the tone, dominant forward carries, and then simple hands out wide. They score, but Wales get an opportunity, and they score. And you have to say, Wales's return, like 22 entries to try scored, is right up there with the best. They are actually clinical when they get opportunities. It's just because they can't live with the physical battle, they're not able to get enough. But yeah, Lewis Rees-Sammet with an aerial take. And the teams were out of shape. That's the cool thing about, when you catch an aerial kick, the defence isn't arranged, and Wales quickly went from right to left, down the hands. Dan Edwards with a little offload, which kind of worked out for him, and it was 7-10. New Zealand were willing to play it from deep, and I was thinking it was a little bit naive, to be honest, the amount that they played. They were playing in their own half or in the middle third a little bit too much. If they were against a better team, I don't think they would do that. But I think it just gave Wales confidence, because they just had 13, 14 men on their feet in the defensive line, and they were heroic. The number of tackles they made, near like 230 tackles Wales made in that match. And that stat might get moved up when they get made official. Just an incredible amount of work. But they were giving Wales confidence because they were trying to play from deep. And New Zealand just aren't quite clicking in attack. 20 minutes in, and it was 7-10. And Wales went close. Reece Carey with a carry, but a brilliant turnover by Pasilio Tossi. And then the All Blacks just a bit inaccurate, not fluent in attack. When you see the ABs play the best, it's when they're running at full pace and no one breaks stride, and the handling, the ball is out there in front, and they can stay at full pace whilst moving the ball. They're not really like that at the moment. So that'll be the work on, is just kind of getting that attack fluent. Some of the basics, fundamentals were good. The discipline, line out, gain line, but just with the ball that they had, didn't use it enough. Although I'm saying that, and they scored 52 points. Ruben Love scores a try. The All Blacks go from a little bit sloppy to slippery. He manages to evade a tackler. It was a big carry from Wallace Satiti that started it. Then Rogers scores again. Again, they were turning New Zealand with kicks. Quite smart play from Wales. Good line-out drills. Went over the top to Plumtree. Penalty advantage. They go down the line. Rogers in the corner. And absolutely spot on. Then Tamaiti Williams with pure power from a 5-metre line-out. And he just ran through Reece Carey and Tane Plumtree. 14-24. And then... and then the start of the second half, Rogers scored again, and it's 21-24. The noise in the stadium is up. You're waiting for the dam to burst, and you're thinking, actually, is there a potential of an upset here? But all of that work, the lack of possession, the amount of tackles, the amount of physicality that New Zealand bring, heroic as it was, that Wales defensive effort, it was always gonna tell over 80 minutes. And the yellow card started to come. Players got tired. And you just can't live with it. Then we had that mad period where eventually Rico Ioane got a try after Will Jordan and Caleb Clark had tries disallowed. About 20 minutes of TMO, which is part of the reason why this video is a bit shorter. Gareth Thomas with a yellow card. That Rico Ioane try was a little bit vintage Rico as well, wasn't it? It was quite nice. Sevu Reece, outrageous footwork for a try. Caleb Clark took it past 50, and good stuff. Nice to see the... actually, one question. How many sponsors is too many sponsors on a rugby pitch? They were like the AI computerized logos absolutely everywhere. Damien McKenzie's kicking was absolutely spot on. Yeah, I think I'd be relatively happy without being too over the top about the success of New Zealand. And if I was Wales, this is kind of where Wales are at. They can ship 50 points, lose by 26 points, and come away thinking they gave it a really good go. And I don't want to sound patronising when I say that, but it's kind of how I see that game. So Scott Robertson, I don't think that'll be enough to stop people criticising him. I think the criticism is a little over the top, to be honest. I think New Zealand are a developing team, but New Zealand have set their standards at such a level historically that the expectation is right up there. And I think there's a little bit of a calibration to where New Zealand are, not where they can be or where they're going, but where they are. There's a little bit of a calibration needed, reality check. And that was, again, a reality check that a Welsh team playing really well, scoring more tries against New Zealand in a November test than they've scored in over a decade, and they're still some way short. Although they are into the top 12 in the rankings because of a last-minute penalty. Again, 2 last-minute penalties have worked for Wales in the last 2 weeks. One last week against Japan, and one today for Japan. An injury time penalty kick winner for Japan against Georgia. So Wales into the top 12. New Zealand stay at number 2. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next video.